Well, hi, everybody. Well, I got a question for you. How many of you all love to be loved? Isn't it wonderful being loved? Now, an interesting question. What is it? What is love? And if you look, it's an impossible question to answer, because in our culture we have one word with 1,000 different applications and definitions. I used to be a divorce attorney. One of the things that I learned as a divorce attorney was that on the surface there was all the anger and the resentment and the upset and the bitterness and all the junk. And then always what was underneath all the upset was a tremendous amount of hurt. And always what was under the hurt was the love. We wouldn't be upset if we didn't care. So one thing became very obvious very, very quickly, and that is that in relationships, love never is enough. Look in your life and notice that, look at times in your life when you've had a relationship with somebody and you loved each other, but your relationship was a disaster. Love is never enough. If I love you but I treat you lousy, so what? The divorce courts are full of people that love each other. So the thing that makes the difference in relationships and in life is something called the experience of love. In relationships, if I interact with you in a way that you feel loved, our relationship will be great. So let's look at the experience of love. Now, in looking at the experience of love, it's not a thing. We relate to it like it's a thing, but it's not a thing. It's a presence, it's an energy, it's a feeling. And since it's an experience, it's something that's beyond words. Like you can very accurately describe a chocolate chip cookie as a thing. But if you look, are there any words that can accurately describe the experience of eating one? You can't, because experience, what you're feeling at any moment, is in a realm totally separate from words. Well, it's the same thing with the experience of love. You know it when it's there, but there are no words that can accurately describe it. But there are certain things that are present when the experience of love is there. So what is present? What happens inside when that experience of love is there? You're happy, you're alive, you feel good about yourself, you feel good about life. And when that experience of love is there, isn't there a wonderful sense of freedom? The circumstances just don't have power over you. Your walls of protection are down. And notice that when that experience of love is present, we have a very, very positive energy. We're positive in our thinking, our speaking, our actions. And then we radiate that positive energy into the world around us. And what comes right back? Great things happen. See, the experience of love is actually the natural state of who we are. Who we are, what it is to be human, who you are is pure love, pure creation, pure possibility. Just look at little kids. We start out pure love, but we're born into a world that kills it. We get hurt, we close down, we enter the world of circumstances, and we disconnect from who we are. But who we are is that state of pure love, and as that love flows through you into your life, you have a life of miracles. And incidentally, that's what's referred to as living in the light. So, and obviously the name of the game is to learn to live in the experience of love. Now, if you look, isn't the experience of love, isn't that the happiness that we want in our lives? Yes, that's what we want in our relationships, and that's the happiness that we seek. Now, where is it located? Outside of us or inside? It's inside. It's an experience. Now, let's look at the opposite. The opposite of the experience of love is the state of fear and upset. When you're in that state of fear, upset, and resistance, you close down inside. You don't feel so good about yourself, your life, your walls of protection go up. And then when we're in that state of fear and upset, don't we become very negative? We're negative in our speaking, our thinking, our actions, and then we radiate that negativity into the world around us, and then what comes right back? negative things happen. And when we're in the state of fear, upset, and resistance, where is it located? Outside of us or inside of us? It's inside. See, we think and we've been taught that what happens on the inside is determined by what happens around us, but that's an illusion that will keep us stuck forever. Instead of the outside determining what happens on the inside, it's the other way around. It's what's on the inside determines what happens on the outside. The more you're able to live in that experience of love on the inside, you radiate a very positive energy, and life works incredibly. But that's not what we're taught. We're taught that happiness comes from outside. You know, people need to be a certain way. This needs to be a certain way. That needs to be a certain way. And then we go through life fighting and resisting life, trying to force people in life to be a certain way, thinking that that will somehow bring us to happiness, but it actually produces the exact opposite result. One of the ways that we create our lives. You know, it's interesting. You know, the type of circumstances that show up in each person's life are so different. The things that show up in my life are totally different than what shows up in your life, which is totally different than what shows up in the next person's life. The type of things that show up in each person's life are totally separate. But what shows up in each person's life keeps showing up. Look in your life and notice that the same things in your life keep showing up again and again and again. And what shows up in your life is going to be totally different than the circumstances that show up in the life of the person sitting next to you. What shows up in each person's life is different because we create those circumstances. Life doesn't just happen. We interact with life in a particular way, and life responds accordingly. How many of y'all notice that there are certain areas of your life that don't work, and that those areas consistently don't work? And they may clear up from time to time, but they keep coming back. How many of y'all notice that? You see, that's the way it is with everybody. But what we don't notice is that we create that. Not only that, what we'll be seeing is we actually force that into existence. Now, one of the most powerful ways that we create is through the law of resistance. Whatever you resist, whatever it is, no matter what you resist, the very act of resisting is going to magnify and give power to whatever you resist.